Welcome back to my inner sanctum. I'm your hostess, Countess Elizabeth, mistress of the macabre. Humans want to feel like they have a higher purpose, to feel like they belong. They tend to join groups that share the same views and morals as them. People just want to feel like they are part of something more meaningful and bigger than themselves. However, sometimes these groups that they end up joining are doomsday cults. When looking from the outside in, we tend to think, how could they join these groups? Well, today, we will look into one such group, the Heaven's Gate cult. So let us sit back while we wait for the hale-bop comet to take us to the next life as we explore our grotesque curiosity. Heaven's Gate was an American UFO religious cult based near San Diego, California. It was founded in 1974 and led by Marshall Applewhite and Bonnie Nettles. Applewhite, the son of a Presbyterian minister and former soldier, began his foray into biblical prophecy in the early 1970s. After being fired from the University of St. Thomas in Houston, Texas, over an alleged relationship with one of his male students, he met Bonnie Nettles, a 44-year-old married nurse with an interest in theosophy and biblical prophecy. He met her in March of 1972. According to Applewhite's writings, the two met in a hospital where she worked while he was visiting a sick friend, though there is a rumor that Applewhite and Nettles met while he was a patient in a psychiatric institution. They renamed themselves Bo and Peep and took a 6-month-long road trip across the United States. Around 1974, they assembled a group called The Crew. For the next 2 decades, they lived all around Southern California. Though Nettles died in 1985, Applewhite kept the group together. When the internet was introduced to consumers in the early 1990s, they began using this new technology to share their beliefs with a wider audience. The reclusive group also used the internet to make a living, deriving a large portion of their income from designing web pages. They still have a website up to this day. Applewhite and Nettles used a variety of aliases over the years, notably Bo and Peep and Doe and T. The group had a variety of names prior to the adoption of the name Heaven's Gate. Their group was also known as Human Individual Metamorphosis, or HIM. The group reinvented and renamed itself several times and had a variety of recruitment methods. Applewhite believed he was directly related to Jesus, meaning he was an evolutionary kingdom above human, asserting to the rest of the group that he was above humans, and therefore they should listen to his commands. The Heaven's Gate cult also shunned sex. Some male members of the group, including Applewhite, had been castrated in an apparent pursuit of their ideal of androgynous immortality. Many of Applewhite and Nettles' crew hailed from very diverse backgrounds. Most of them were described by researchers as having been long-time truth seekers or spiritual hippies, who had long since believed in attempting to find themselves through other spiritual means. However, many of those same researchers note that not all of Applewhite's crew were hippies recruited from far-left alternative religious backgrounds. In fact, one such recruit early on was John Craig, a respected Republican running for the Colorado House of Representatives at the time of joining in 1975. As recruit numbers grew in its pre-internet days, the clan of UFO followers all seem to have a common need for communal belonging in an alternative path to higher existence without the constraints of institutionalized faith. It was not until the death of Nettles due to liver cancer in 1985 and Applewhite's subsequent revision of the group's doctrines that the crew gained an eventual reputation as a cyberculture form of religious thought form. By the mid-1990s, the group had become reclusive, identifying themselves using the business name Higher Source, and using their website to preach and recruit followers. Rumors began spreading throughout the group in the following years that the upcoming hale-bop comet housed the secret to their ultimate salvation and ascendance into the kingdom of heaven. The cult's philosophy took root from Applewhite's Presbyterian upbringing and essentially grafted his extraterrestrial belief onto Christian theology. Applewhite told his acolytes that he was the second coming of Jesus Christ, that God was an alien, and that they were living in the end times. They read the Bible, especially Revelation chapter 11 in the New Testament, a section about 2 witnesses that prophesies the end times. Applewhite told them that they would have to battle demons, which Applewhite called Luciferians. On October 1996, members of Applewhite's clan began renting a large home which they called the Monastery, a 9,200 square foot mansion located in Rancho Santa Fe, California. They paid $7,000 per month in cash for the rent. In the same month, the group purchased alien abduction insurance, which would cover up to 50 members, and it would pay out $1 million per person. The policy covered abduction, impregnation, or death by aliens. On March 19th through the 20th, 1997, Marshall Applewhite taped himself in Doe's final exit, speaking of mass suicide and the only way to evacuate this Earth. After asserting that a spacecraft was trailing the hale-bop comet, and this event would represent the closure to Heaven's Gate, Applewhite persuaded 38 followers to prepare for ritual suicide so that their souls could board the supposed craft. Applewhite believed that after their deaths, an unidentified flying object, or UFO, would take their souls to another level above human existence, which he described as being both physical and spiritual. Their preparations included each member videotaping a farewell message. To kill themselves, the members took phenobarbital mixed with applesauce or pudding and washed it down with vodka. Additionally, they secured plastic bags around their heads after ingesting the mix to induce asphyxiation. However, toxicology reports show that the victims took a less than lethal concoction of barbiturates and booze, meaning that they may have died from suffocation due to the plastic bags over their heads. All 39 were dressed in identical black shirts and sweatpants, brand new black and white Nike Decade athletic shoes, and armband patches reading Heaven's Gate Away Team. Each member had on their person a $5 bill and 3 quarters in their pockets. The money was to cover tolls that they would have to pay to get through the Heaven's Gate in space. There was a living member who would find the bodies. Once all the members were dead, the living member would arrange the bodies by removing the plastic bags from the person's head, and followed by posing the body so it laid neatly in its own bed, with faces and torsos covered by a purple square cloth for privacy. The identical clothing was used as a uniform for the mass suicide to represent unity, while the Nike Decades were chosen by the group because they got a good deal on the shoes. The 39 adherents, 21 women and 18 men, between the ages of 26 and 72, all died. Among the dead was Thomas Nichols, brother of the actress Nichelle Nichols, who is best known for her role as Uhura in the original Star Trek series. The San Diego Sheriff's Department received an anonymous tip through the 911 system at 3:15 p.m. on March 26th, which was 6 days later, suggesting that they check on the welfare of the residents. Days after the suicide, this caller was revealed to be Rio D'Angelo, the last living member. Yes, I need to report an anonymous tip. Who do I talk to? Okay, this is regarding what? This is regarding a mass suicide. I can give you the address. A single deputy who first responded to the call entered the home through a side door, saw 10 bodies, and was nearly overcome by the pungent odor. The bodies were already decomposing in the hot California spring. After a cursory search by the 2 deputies, they found no one alive. Both were treated until a search warrant could be procured. All 39 bodies were ultimately cremated. As the police found their bodies on March 26th, the images of the white and black Nikes poking out from under a purple cloth would be burned into the eyes of a generation. Just before the mass suicide, the group's website was updated with the message, "Hale-bop brings us closer to Heaven's Gate. Our 22 years of classroom here on planet Earth is finally coming to a conclusion. Graduation from the human evolutionary level. We are happily prepared to leave this world and go with T's crew." Well, that was truly a grotesque tale. It seems that many were brought into Applewhite's vision of leaving Earth on the hale-bop comet. They thought that killing themselves on Earth would end their suffering so that they can be taken to the other side. May their souls rest in peace. Thank you for taking the time to watch the video. Subscribe, like, and share if you would like to keep exploring our grotesque curiosity. We will meet again in the darkness of the night.